gain. Some optimistic views coming in there. But let's move on. This is our special segment, Quarter Se Quarter Tak. Abhishek is here today to take us through expectations from the NBFC sector this quarter. Abhishek, what are you expecting?
Sonia, it's expected to be a strong quarter for the NBFC in Q3FY23. So this is on the back of the fact that disbursements will remain high and recoveries will also remain strong, despite the fact that, in a rising interest rate scenario, it could temper their net interest margin, given the fact that cost of funds would have risen faster. So NBFCs may have probably the best Q3, in last few years that you may expect in Q3FY23 results. Strong across segments, housing or vehicles or consumer durables will support disbursements this time around. So for HFCs, that is housing finance companies, growth to be in mid to high teens, net interest margin to remain stable. CV finance growth to be in mid teens due to strong disbursements this time around. Gold finance, YOY may not be a good comparative figure. However, sequentially, that is quarter on quarter, it's expected to be a good quarter this time with sharp improvement in net interest margin. Also, for consumer finance, the growth to be better due to improvement that you are seeing in the macro trends, stable margins and no asset quality woes. So we have some of the estimates from Kotak Securities. For SDFC Limited, they expect NII growth of 12% YOY and 3% sequentially. They are expecting profit growth of 19% YOY and a decline of 19% sequentially. For Bajaj Finance, they are expecting NII growth of 23% YOY and about 5% sequentially, while PAT is expected to grow at 31% YOY and flat sequentially. For Cholamandalam, they are expecting 11% growth in NII on a YOY basis and 2% sequentially. PAT growth is expected to be a 13% YOY and about 5% sequentially. For Muthoot Finance, YOY, they may see a decline in NII by 13%. However, sequentially, it's expected to be up 5% and PAT is expected to decline 12% YOY, but it can increase by 4% on a sequential basis. Back to you.
All right, Abhishek, thanks very much for that. Bhise is banking analyst at JM Financial Institutional Securities. Samir, good to have you with us here. Thank you very much. Let's start with Bajaj Finance, which already provided us with that business update, right? And the stock saw a sharp reaction to that. Do you expect to hear an explanation that, well, what we've seen is a bit of a deliberate, a slowdown? We've heard that kind of commentary in the past and the market's taken it very well. So let's just start with your thoughts on Bajaj Finance.
Yeah, so I think on the headline AUM, for Bajaj, it grew almost 27% YOY and around 5.7% on a sequential basis. I think market expectations on a sequential growth were slightly higher, given that it was a festive season. However, if you look at customer ads, they continue to do well. What we need to see is what is the split between the housing and non-housing growth for this quarter. Our sense is that housing probably would have pulled back a bit, is how I am looking at the situation, given that the non-housing book, given festive tailwinds, could have done better. Though we wait for clarity from the management. Having said that, they still continue to grow at 27-28%. They have had one of the better run ALMs in the sector, probably one of the best. Over the last multiple cycles, they have managed margins better. The company is annualizing at 5% kind of a ROA right now. So in that context, we would probably see this correction as an opportunity to add the name, which will continue to grow at 25-27% in AUMs and 25% plus in earnings. So though clarity is awaited, we would not be very worried on probably a 2 percentage point miss in AUM growth for 3Q.
Okay. What about the CV financiers or vehicle financiers? They are expected to do well too after recovery that we've seen on something like a Cholamandalam, which in any case has been at closer to its 52-week high. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think Chola is a well-run franchise, no doubts there. Given slightly rich valuations, we have a hold rating, but I think the stock having kind of gone sideways over the last 3 to 6 months, I think it makes sense. It is quoting well below our fair value. We are expecting a 24-25% plus kind of an AUM growth and profits of close to 6 billion for Chola. Commentary on margins and on the impact of RBI transition, they have clarified amply. However, just need to kind of ensure that it is on those same expected lines is what one would look for.
Okay, all right. Hi, Samir. Good morning. What about the gold financiers? Muthoot and Manappuram, they used to do quite well. But now these banking names, they gradually, become quite aggressive in that space. What's your sense on both these two?
So we don't have a formal coverage on Muthoot and Manappuram. But as you rightly said, banks have gotten aggressive over the last 24 months in this segment. With respect to banks, they will continue to chase this asset given the secured nature, and now it is coming at a huge distribution presence, which was mode for some of these non-bank guys. We will probably have a period of transition, which I think is still underway. While in the near term, the strong gold prices should see a bit of a AUM tailwind for gold lending. Though specifically, I'll refrain from commenting on these two from a quarter perspective.
Samir, beyond this earnings, what are your sort of top picks in the NBFC space?
Yeah, hi. So we continue to like Bajaj. We think it continues to be a secular story despite increasing competition. We also have a positive view on Mahindra Finance. We think they are moving in the right direction, though there have been initial hiccups, but I think they are well placed. Historically, these companies used to earn well above a 2% return on asset. I think a lot of the issues of past cycle are behind them. So we like Bajaj, we like Mahindra Finance, we like also Poonawalla Fincorp, which is a relatively smaller in terms of AUM, but I think the growth tailwinds are quite high from a 3-year perspective.
Any stocks that you would avoid now from the entire basket that you track?
I lost you there, sorry.
Any stocks that are avoidable from the entire basket that you track?
So I think the whole narrative on NBFCs has to be looked in this context. Fundamentally, the bottom-up numbers are continuing to improve over the last 4 quarters. However, the interest rate narrative, which is currently going on with respect to rates remaining higher for longer, and I think that is more global in nature, at some point in time over the next 6 to 12 months, this will turn. And that is when meaningful outperformance from NBFCs will come through. Banks have kind of outperformed quite a bit. Incremental juice will probably is not so much as was the case 6 months back. So one needs to watch out on the interest rates commentary. From a clear avoid perspective, given that what stocks have done, I will not put any of my coverage names in that list. Though we think that some of these smaller housing finance names at some point in time will have competition from banks, though we don't have a formal coverage yet. In my coverage, I think one needs to watch how the interest rate narrative changes, but fundamentally most companies are doing well.
All right, Samir, thanks very much. Good to have you with us here. So 3 names, Poonawalla Fincorp, Bajaj Finance and M&M Financial Services. Those are sort of Samir's picks at JM Financial Institutional Equities and decent quarter for the space. We'll take a quick commercial break with news that the Nifty is up, 25, 26 odd points. And it's, I think, pretty much the same kind of screen. Maybe PSU banks is one area which is a new addition to what we are seeing. If you can have these names, IOB, Indian Overseas Bank, that is. The PSU bank index is up, moved up to being at the high point of the day. It's up 1.8. IOB is up 5%. Maharashtra Bank, Bank of Maharashtra is up 4%. UCO Bank is up 7%. Union Bank is up 4%. And so on and so forth. So that entire pack of the PSU space is doing very well. And most of these stocks now at the last hour high, which is also the day high. We take a break. We are back with Mitesh, who is back with us for some technical trading ideas. Should you buy this dip which has emerged in the last hour? Mitesh will tell us more on the other side.